welcome to another episode of Bergen Stage's Radio Theater. Today, we present a radio adaptation of one of the best-known works by Ring W. Lardner entitled The Love Nest. Mr. Lardner was one of America's greatest humorists and masters of the short story, and also a radio critic for the New Yorker magazine. So, sit back and enjoy today's episode. Our scene: the vastly magnificent reception hall of the vastly magnificent home of Mr. Lou Gregg, a vastly magnificent motion picture producer. Gregg has as his guest a reporter interviewing him for a magazine. As we begin, Mr. Gregg and the reporter, Mr. Bartlett, are just entering the room.
Well, here we are. How do you like it? Quite a shack, eh?
Oh, I should say so.
It ought to be. I mean, I spent enough on it. I mean, these things cost money. Here, sit down.
Thanks.
No amount of money is too much to spend on a home, I always say. I mean, it's a good investment. Ensures me of a happy wife and family. You know, Celia calls this her love nest. I mean, what more can a man ask? Forbes! Forbes!
Yes, sir?
Forbes, we want a drink. You'll find a full bottle of that bourbon in the cupboard.
It's only half full, sir.
Half full? Well, that's funny. I mean, I opened it last night and just took one drink. I mean, it ought to be full.
It's only half full now, sir.
Well, anyway, it's good stuff, Bartlett.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I mean, this isn't the first time lately. When you keep so many servants, it's hard to get them all honest. You see what I mean?
Yes, I see. Well, will Mrs. Gregg be joining us here? I want to meet.
Oh, sure. The little wife makes a point of always being home when I get in from the city. I'll call her now. Oh, sweetheart.
Hello, sweetheart.
Come down, sweetheart. I have brought you a visitor.
All right, sweetheart, in just a minute.
You'll see, Bartlett. You'll be able to get a lot more for your write-up by meeting the wife and the family, coming out home with me this way for the evening. I mean, that'll give you a chance to see us as we really are. Not like if you just sat in the office with me asking questions. Why, we may even go upstairs later and see my kitties. You'll love them.
3 girls, isn't it?
Yes, sir. 3 girls. Terrific, all of them. And my wife. Did you ever see her? I mean, in pictures.
Oh, yes, in the CAD. I remember her as a pretty and vivacious girl.
She certainly was. And she certainly is yet. I mean, she's even prettier, but of course she ain't a kid no more. I mean, she was only 17 in that picture, and that was 10 years ago. But it's remarkable the way marriage changes a girl.
Yes, isn't it?
I mean, who would ever have thought that Celia would turn out to be a sit by the fire? I mean, she still likes a good time, but her home and the kiddies come first. Wife and motherhood have given her a kind of pose. Know what I mean? Say, here she comes now. Oh, this is Mr. Bartlett, sweetheart. Mr. Bartlett, meet Mrs. Gregg.
I'm so pleased.
How do you do?
Mr. Bartlett is with that magazine, Mankind. He's going to write me up. I mean, us.
No, you mean you. The public isn't interested in great men's wives. Oh, and I've been out of the limelight so long, nobody remembers me. I'm no longer an artist. Really a happy wife and mother.
Well, it takes an artist to be that, Mrs. Gregg.
Beg pardon. The drinks, sir?
Oh, yes. Put him down, Forbes. Say, listen, sweetheart. One of the servants has been helping himself to this bourbon. I mean, it was a full bottle last night. Now, who do you suppose has been at it?
How do I know, sweetheart? Maybe the groceryman, or the iceman, or somebody.
But you and I and Forbes are the only ones that have a key. I mean, it was locked up.
Maybe you forgot to lock it.
No, I never do. Well, anyway, Bartlett, here's how.
Here's how. Oh, but doesn't Mrs. Gregg indulge?
No, only a cocktail before dinner.
Oh, I see.
Lou objects, and, well, I don't like whiskey much anyway.
Oh, I don't object to your drinking whiskey, sweetheart. I just object to your drinking to excess. I think it coarsens a woman to drink. I mean, I think it makes them coarse.
Well, it certainly is smooth stuff.
Oh, sweetheart, have you forgotten your appointment with Mr. Latham this evening?
Gosh, I did forget all about him. Gee, that's terrible. You see, Mr. Bartlett, I made a date with this theater owner and he's going back east tomorrow. But I'll phone him and call it off. I mean, you come first.
Oh, no. Don't do that on my account, Mr. Gregg. I can see you some other time at your office.
I don't see how you can call it off, darling. Not if you want his theaters to book your pictures anymore. I'll entertain Mr. Bartlett as best I can and give him all the information he needs for his interview. After all, sweetheart, your home life speaks for itself without you even saying a word. So you just run along, sweetheart. I'm sure Mr. Bartlett understands.
Oh, of course, certainly.
Well then, good night, Bartlett.
Good night.
I'm awfully sorry about this. I mean, I sure am, but I'll see you soon. Oh, Lord, I'm late now. I'll have to run. Good night, sweetheart. You'll get a ring from me later. I mean, I'll call you up.
Poor Lou. Always rushing off somewhere. Well, Mr. Bartlett, what do you think of our love nest?
It's magnificent.
Is this really such wonderful whiskey, Mr. Bartlett?
Oh, yes.
Well, I think I'll take just a sip of it and see what it's like. It can't hurt me if it's so good, can it?
Oh, I don't believe so.
Well then, I'm going to taste it. And if it hurts me, it's your fault, Mr. Bartlett. Now, what is it you men say? Here's how.
Uh-huh.
It is good, isn't it? You know, I feel like I wasn't being a good hostess to let you drink alone. I'll join you in just one more sip. A little wee sip. Here.
No. What? Well, that's hardly a sip for me, Mrs. Gregg. No, please.
Round the hatch.
Okay, down the hatch.
Say, let's have some music.
All right.
See this phonograph, Bartlett?
Yes.
Cost $2,000.
Oh, really?
Isn't it a swell song? I mean, it's hot, ain't it? I mean, I like him hot. Let's dance.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Mrs. Gregg. I don't dance.
Okay. The trouble with you, mister. Now, isn't that a scream? I can't think of your name.
Bartlett.
Oh. The trouble with you, Barker. No, what's the trouble with you? You're too sober. See? You're too rotten sober. That's the whole trouble, see? If you weren't so sober, we'd be better off. See? What I can't understand is how you can be so sober and me so high.
But you're not used to it, Mrs. Gregg.
Not used to it? Where do you think that other half bottle went? Say, I'm like this half the time, see? If I wasn't, I'd die.
What does your husband say?
He don't say, 'cause he don't know. See, Barker, there's nights when he's out and nights where I pretend to be sleepy and go upstairs. But I don't go to bed, see? I have a little party all by myself. If I didn't, I'd die. Say, Barker, you weren't dumb enough to fall for all that applesauce about the happy home and contented wife, were ya?
Well,
Listen, boy. I'd give anything in the world to be out of this mess and never see that baboon again. Have another, Barker. Here's how!
But Mrs. Gregg, now, well, don't you love him anymore? Well, doesn't he love you?
Love. Say, that's a laugh. I never did love him. And all his love is for himself. I was a kid, An ambitious kid, see? He got stuck on me and I thought he'd make me a star. I married him to get myself a chance and now look at me.
Well, I'd say you were fairly well off.
Well off, am I? Say, I'd change places with the scum of the earth just to be free. I could have been a star without any help if I'd only realized it. I had the looks and I had the talent. I could have got myself anything. And look what I did get. I thought he'd make me. See, Barker? Well, he's made me all right. He's made me a chattel to show off along with his home and his cars and his horses. Just to show off, see? I'm like the big diamond he wears on his fat paw, Barker. See? You go back to your magazine and you write about our love nest, Barker. You go ahead. Here's to Lou Gregg and his love nest. Here's mud in your eye, Barker. Well, have you got enough dope for your story now? Have you? Have you? Have you?
Let me...
No, it's Lou.
Well, I've got it.
No, I'll take it. Hello? Yes, sweetheart. Yes, he's just leaving. Yes, sweetheart, I told him everything. Why, yes, sweetheart. Yes, sweetheart.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Bergen Stages Radio Theater. The Love Nest features Alexander Preziosi as Greg, Matthew Rella as Bartlett, Dean Matson as Forbes, and Kayla Haskins as Celia. Dean Matson is also our recording engineer and special effects creator. Marianne Coe is our video engineer, and I am Jim Bumgardner, your host. Thank you to Bergen Community College, the BCC Office of Student Life, and the BCC Media Technologies Department. Join us for another episode of Bergen Stages Radio Theater soon, and be sure to catch some of our earlier episodes online. Until next time, don't touch that dial, and if you do, remember to disinfect it first.